By the way, thank you so much for
All right, all right.
We like
for
money.
having me. We're excited.
How you?
Oh yeah, I'll take it.
You guys, we love you. How do I say I am a deliverista? Estoy? Soy deliverista. Thank you. Long time no
I
see.
know.
She was there.
Yes.
Tell him who I danced with on stage because he wasn't there.
You had to dance with Jemima.
There you go. There you go.
Disheartening.
What you doing?
I didn't mind. I asked Hokel to come up and dance with me, but she didn't want to. No. Okay.
Paige has to put something out there.
Page. And we even have a beautiful mayor podium. Our podiums, for those of you who cover us on Sunday, our podiums suck. But when we invite the mayor, we get a beautiful podium. That is not the only reason we have invited him.
Okay, good to know.
We're going to do every Sunday with them there.
Okay. All right. First, I want to wish everybody happy Pride. We have a great parade today, and I not only, here I am, baby. Happy Pride. There you go. Happy Pride. All right. And my daughter and daughter-in-law usually march with me in the Gay Pride Parade, but they had a 3-month-old baby. They have a 3-month-old baby, so they got to wait. Okay, I'm proud to be joined here by my colleagues, Senator Gillibrand, my great friend and partner in the Senate, Mayor Adams, always caring about what people care about, and this is one of those issues. We have our first Deputy Fire Commissioner, Joe Pfeiffer, and Chief Joseph Ferranti. We have a lot of people from NYCHA. NYCHA people, say hello. Thank you. We have Ligia, the great Gualpa, the great executive director of the Workers' Justice Project. Where is she? Yeah, I didn't see you. Hi, Lilia. Likewise. And William Medina from Los Deliveristas. Yo soy Deliverista, and Deputy Major Joshi. Okay. So, and we thank a lot of the Baruch tenants who are now actually working the parade right now who couldn't be here and wanted to be here. But why are we here at Baruch? We're here because we're on the heels of having stood with families whose lives were forever changed because of recent lithium-ion fires. Just last night on 161st Street, an e-bike explosion prompted an apartment fire. Because of calls like this, last month, Senator Gillibrand and I, many of you were here. Senator Gillibrand, we weren't here, we were uptown. But because of calls like this, Senator Gillibrand and I announced a push to pass a bipartisan bill called Setting Consumer Standards for Lithium-Ion Batteries. Over the past few years, there have been too many fires across New York City, Long Island, and beyond, caused by lithium-ion batteries used in e-bikes and in e-scooters. These batteries are poorly made, often in China, and they explode and cause fires. They are dangerous. And because there's no federal consumer safety standard, no federal regulation for such batteries, it's allowed cheap, faulty, China-made batteries to come into our country. And they're the ones that have caused most of these fires. Listen to this. Last year, there were 216 of these battery fires. That's an increase. There were only 44 in 2020 because these Chinese companies that want to skirt the law have learned that there's no stopping them from coming in until Senator Gillibrand's legislation and my legislation passes. This year alone, there have been 30 of these battery fires in New York City, and we're not half finished with the year yet. There have been 30 battery fires in New York City, 40 people injured, 2 unfortunately dead. But today there's new hope. Hope that we can work to prevent these fires that start from shoddy China-made lithium-ion batteries and chargers. So I am announcing right now that we have procured a grant that NYCHA will get $25 million in emergency money to prevent this. This is a picture of one of the batteries that set on fire and hurt people, okay? This is what we are trying to prevent, okay? This is what happens when you plug in your e-scooter, say to a charger, and the cheap Chinese-made lithium-ion battery short circuits or explodes. That's what happens. That is what happens, unfortunately. The result can be deadly, and unfortunately has been. This is serious. It's also serious for the FDNY, because it's their firefighters who have to fight these fires. And these lithium-ion batteries have caused more than 400 fires in the last few years, 300 injuries, 12 deaths, damage to 320 structures. The fires impact our hardworking deliveristas because, as you know, they need these batteries to do their deliveries. And they work so hard in such tough conditions, the deliveristas don't need this extra danger. So, we're at a time when technology is outpacing federal safety action in many ways. Technology gets way ahead, and the federal government struggles to catch up. It's our job to get them to catch up, and we're pushing everybody to do it. Okay? And there's no better example in this dilemma than these batteries, which are new, worse, etc. So today we're here to deliver an infusion of $25 million to NYCHA for the installation of safe charging batteries that will save lives and make these devices much safer. I have called both the White House and the relevant cabinet officials and said, we need this grant. And being the majority leader ain't too shabby. We got the grant because it's so important. It comes from federal DOT. And I want to thank Secretary Buttigieg, who I've talked to several times about this, for the grant program. It's called a RAISE grant, Rebuilding America Infrastructure with Sustainability and Equity. The funding here will be used to install 173 electric mobility charging and storage stations at 53 NYCHA developments across the 5 boroughs. We have the list of which of the developments are getting them. As you can see, there are a large number in the Bronx, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Queens, and even on Staten Island. Okay? The Fed-funded NYCHA project is going to reduce and even eliminate potential fire hazards linked to the batteries. As of April 23, there were 63 fires caused by batteries in just this year, and 5 deaths. So it's getting worse, not better. The increased availability of these batteries, I'm announcing today, will reduce or eliminate potential fire hazards linked to them. The $25 million for DOT is a godsend, a lifesaver. And it's going to provide safe storage and accessible charging infrastructure to help alleviate the safety concerns. So we deliver this safety to our NYCHA residents, our deliveristas, and e-bike and scooter users. It is now my honor and pleasure to turn it over to a great partner, a great friend, and a great worker from New York, my colleague in the Senate, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand.
Thank you so much, Leader Schumer, for your great leadership and vision and your constant care for this great city and our great state. I want to recognize our mayor for really focusing on public safety and making sure that our workers can do their jobs every day safely. And to all the advocates and families standing with us today, just a few days ago, 4 people were killed in a fire at 80 Madison Street. It was caused by lithium-ion battery that caught fire at an e-bike service store near Chinatown. Unfortunately, it's a story we've heard far too many times. Lithium-ion batteries have become an essential part of daily life. They power everything from laptops, cell phones, vehicles like electric cars, e-bikes, and scooters. They're easy to dispose of and can store more energy than alkaline batteries. They also play an important role in addressing the climate crisis and reducing our nation's dependence on fossil fuel. Over the last few years, we've seen the popularity of lithium-ion batteries-powered e-bikes and scooters continue to soar, because people use them to take their kids to school, commute to work, tour our cities. Many of our delivery workers rely on them to carry food and other goods. So let me be clear, most lithium-ion batteries and chargers are safe, and we need to encourage the use of more sustainable transportation alternatives moving forward. But we also need to make sure that these micromobility vehicles are stored and charged safely so that faulty or improperly manufactured batteries don't put people in harm's way. Just this year, lithium-ion batteries caused 108 fires across New York City that have killed 13 people. Frankly, it's unacceptable. Consumers and hardworking Americans should have the ability to store and charge these vehicles safely without worrying that they could catch fire. So when NYCHA applied for funding to help install micro-mobility charging and storage stations across New York City, Senator Schumer and I got to work, and I was happy to support this effort. The $25 million that we secured for NYCHA's Micromobility Action Plan will go a long way to promote safe and reliable micromobility vehicle storage. It will enable the city to install 173 charging and storage stations at 53 outdoor NYCHA sites, which will help prevent these catastrophic fires from starting. And it will help encourage the use of more sustainable transportation alternatives among residents in NYCHA developments. In addition to this funding, Senator Schumer and I have been working on legislation to create mandatory safety standards for lithium-ion batteries and used in e-bikes and scooters. If passed, it would take improperly manufactured batteries off the market. It would add another layer of protection for those who purchase e-bikes and scooters. So I want to thank everyone for their attention to this issue. By making sure the users of micromobility vehicles can store and charge safely, we can save lives, protect properties from fire, and we can continue to build a safer and more sustainable future for each other and our planet.
Thank you, Senator Gillibrand. And I just do want to underscore a point she made. Not all of these batteries are dangerous, but unfortunately it's the Chinese-made cheaper ones that are, and lots of people who can't afford a lot go for the cheaper one not knowing that they're not safe.
You can show them what it looks like.
Yeah, good.
Remember, it's a little heavy, so just
I'm a little strong. This is what, here,
Yep.
let me,
Yep.
well, we'll put it right over the bike. There we go. This is what it looks like.
Yeah.
They're heavy, they're important, and there's a huge difference between the well-made ones and the cheaper ones. That's the bottom line. But our deliveristas and many others need them for their bikes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so our mayor is really concerned with just about every aspect of New Yorkers' lives. In so many different ways, you see him fighting for so many good things. We work very closely with him in Washington to get as much out of Washington for New York as we can. And so this is another example of the mayor's involvement in the day-to-day lives that people have, trying to make people safer. Mayor Eric Adams from Brooklyn, New York.
You're a Brooklyn guy too, Senator. You know, really, I cannot thank the senators, Leader Schumer and Senator Gillibrand, for just their quick response on these issues that are vital to us. And this is a real issue. When you lose New Yorkers to a fire of that magnitude, I was at the building the other day and just watching the charred downstairs where the bike shop was located. And as I learned from the commissioner, it was not so much the flames, but the dark black smoke that these batteries create. And I just want to take my hat off to the senators for bringing this immediate relief in a smart way, because the introduction of lithium batteries and our push for using e-mobility has created this real market. And for the most part, the market is successful. But in the areas where you have the illegal, cheaply made or refurbished batteries, it creates this dangerous condition. And so this $25 million from the RAISE grant for a safe e-bike charging in NYCHA is so significant and important. Just this week, when we lost 4 New Yorkers that lost their lives due to these batteries, it really sent a strong call across the entire country, because this problem is going to continue. Yeah, look at you, just always serving the people. And as we rely more and more on micromobility vehicles to earn a living in our daily lives, we increase the risk of fires caused by lithium-ion batteries. And as mentioned, we had over 100 deaths in the city alone on these batteries. And one of the problems that we've noticed, when you look at those taped-up batteries, you see that they are refurbished. These shops are going inside, attempting to refurbish the batteries and do it their own way. This is a safety issue. A few months ago, we began a pilot with Con Ed, which will allow us to accelerate developing and installing a micromobility charging station. The RAISE grant will help us significantly expand that initiative. It will allow us to install outdoor electric micromobility charging and storing stations at 157 NYCHA developments. The list Senator Schumer was able to show us. The charging and storing station will reduce the chances e-bike related fires. The danger is that oftentimes people leave the bikes in the hallways, near their exits, by the doorways. That is really blocking the egress, and it also creates a very dangerous situation. We expect a total of 327 stations to be installed throughout NYCHA developments, with more stations installed at larger developments. An average of 67 residents will be served by each station. This means that residents will no longer need to charge their e-bikes in their apartments, what we find to be extremely dangerous, particularly when you charge them overnight and when you leave the charging plugged up and overcharged. The charging storage stations made possible by the RAISE grant are crucial to keeping New Yorkers safe and protected. The grant is part of a suite of efforts of our administration is taken to reduce the chance of lithium-ion battery fires. 311 calls regarding questionable activity at bike repair shops, as we mentioned last week, will be responded to in 12 hours. We want to really thank the FDNY, Commissioner Kavanaugh, for really expediting this. Historically, it was 72 hours. That is going to change to 12 hours. Small Business Services will partner with the FDNY to reach bike and repair shops across the 5 boroughs because we want to educate. The goal is to really educate those who are in contact with these batteries so we can get it right. And we released our Charge Safe, Ride Safe plan to help New Yorkers use e-bikes and scooters safely because we do want to encourage the use of micromobility, but we have to do it right. E-bikes and other micromobility vehicles are an important part of our transportation network and essential to many small businesses. And thanks to the contribution of Majority Leader Schumer and Senator Gillibrand, FDNY, the Department of Transportation, the Department of Consumer and Workers Force Protection, the NYPD and SBS, and our administration will make sure that hardworking New Yorkers like the deliveristas we see behind us can continue to use their vehicles and continue to provide a service and remain gainfully employed in our city. So again, Senators, thank you so much for this important initiative. Thank you.
Yay.
Always serving.
Got it. Okay, 2 more points here. First, usually it takes 6-7 hours to charge, but these are really strong charges. It's going to be a lot shorter, so many more people can use them. The mayor mentioned all the places. We have the list of each of the developments in NYCHA and how many chargers they're each getting. We're now going to call on, is the Deputy Commissioner Pfeiffer, are you going to say a few words? Thank you. Our great Fire Commissioner, Deputy Fire Commissioner Joe Pfeiffer.
Thank you, Senator Schumer and Senator Gillibrand, for this important funding to build e-bike outdoor storage and charging stations. Already this year, we know the dangers of e-bike fires. In just 6 months alone, we had 110 incidents, 71 injuries, and 13 heartbreaking fatalities, of which 4 occurred last week. Senators, with your funding, you are joining Mayor Adams, FDNY, and me and all of New York in a campaign for e-safety. E-safety is having the support of government and the private sector to build safe batteries and charging stations. But it's also for the public to know what to do and what not to do. If you see something that's not right in an e-bike charging shop or in your building, call 311 and FDNY will come out and inspect. If you're home, do not charge a non-certified or tampered with battery. Stay alert and never charge a battery in a location that blocks your exit. All of us working together will keep New York e-safe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senators.
Great. Now we have
Mayor.
William Medina representing the Los Deliveristas. Where's William? There you are. I know William.
Good morning. My name is William Medina, and I'm a member for Worker Justice Project, and I'm a leader of Los Deliveristas Unidos. Thank you all for having us here today. We applaud Senator Schumer, Senator Kristen Gillibrand, and Mayor Adams on your commitment to expand electric micromobility, charging station to NYCHA, developments across all 5 boroughs in New York City. This announcement is a big step forward to protect New Yorkers from fires caused by lithium-ion batteries and to help us to transition to a new era of safe electric micromobility. We are proud to support these major infrastructure plans that will promote economic opportunity and improve quality of life for NYCHA residents and deliveristas. We look forward to continue working together in building a future of safe e-micromobility for all New Yorkers, including the creation of deliverista hubs across the city while protecting the lives for every New Yorker. Thank you, Senator Schumer and Mayor Adams, for leadership and for giving delivery workers a seat at this table. And we look forward to continue the work with our partners at all levels of government to build micromobility infrastructure that prioritizes safety, access, and equity. We look forward to continue working together in building a future to safe in a micromobility for all New Yorkers, include a creation of deliverista hubs across the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Medina. Okay, I think that's all our speakers. We have folks from Baruch houses here, but they're not going to speak. So we'll take questions on this subject. The city is putting in some more charging stations on their own. This is the federal money.
So the federal is for the 173.
Correct.
327, that's city money?
We're going to be installing more charging stations.
It's total of 327. Yeah.
Okay. Straightened out the number of deaths. One other question I have. I think one of the reasons they charge them inside is so that they don't get stolen or anything. These are outdoor charging stations. How are you going to do so?
Well, look, I mean, bikes are always susceptible to be stolen, and you have to have a good locking system to prevent them from being stolen. Is that the best answer delivered?
There's another aspect to the
Yeah.
There's another aspect to this too. It's also secure bike locking
Yes.
to match the charging to address the point that you just raised.
The other thing, Sandy, where in the hopper is the bill to regulate batteries? Is it
Yes, it's in the Transportation Committee, and we're hoping to get it as part of the budget bill in September. Yep. Yes. Yes.
First of all, thank you. Last week I covered the story, and to know that somebody lost their mom and dad was very difficult to know that we because of this fire. So thank you so much for this. I was waiting for something like this. I want to ask you guys two very quick questions. One, when will the installation begin? When can we start seeing these
The money is delivered. Just like the deliveristas deliver, we have delivered. The money is there.
but we want to announce in our pieces today, you know, when we can start seeing them.
Mayor Yoshi.
I don't live in NYCHA. I live in a normal building in Brooklyn. I'm wondering if anybody in my building has these batteries. Federally, what's going to happen with, you know, buildings that aren't from NYCHA?
Right, good question.
So you'll start seeing, and the city's been proactive. We've already been working with Con Ed to make sure that we have the infrastructure in place, what the right designs are for charging and secure parking. And we're going to work quickly with USDOT to secure our money and get our grant agreement, which means we think we'll see the NYCHA residents will start seeing evidence of this early next year. Yeah, early next year. And I want to point out one thing, and this is a credit to our mayor. We have a lot of opportunity with the infrastructure bill. This mayor, Eric Adams, has said, do not work in silos. This is a DOT grant. Traditionally, it's gone to a transportation agency. Because of the creativity and working together, NYCHA is now able to access transportation dollars. And that means that this is part of our core infrastructure. E-bikes and e-bike charging, secure locks is part of as much as it means as our roads and our bridges. And I think that's a really important recognition on the federal government and a really important recognition of this city.
And let me answer your second question about what if you don't live in NYCHA. We have put $7.5 billion at my push for charging infrastructure stations in the bipartisan infrastructure bill. That would be available to New York City if it chooses to put these types of installations across the city, not just in NYCHA. And I know we're working on getting as a high a percentage of that money as we can. So there's help for the rest as well. Not in this grant. This is a special grant, as was mentioned by Ms. Yoshi. We will. We're right on this. Any other questions on this subject?
And then we're only doing one off topic, which is your Russia briefing that your guests know about.
Okay. Well, wait. Let's any on this subject.
You talked a lot about Chinese companies manufacturing lithium-ion batteries. So who are the top U.S. lithium-ion battery manufacturers? What are your current discussions with them? And how quickly can they manufacture these batteries for New York City to have a safe, reliable...
Yeah, there is a booming industry in this because there are so many more e-bikes, and everybody on an e-bike wants a lithium battery, not the old-fashioned stuff. So there's a boom in the U.S. We can get you the names of the top companies, but they are greatly upping their production. But because those batteries are safer, they cost more. The problem here is the Chinese batteries cut corners, and that's why they have so many accidents. But people say, oh, this one's a couple of $100 less, I'll buy it. We got to stop that. Okay? You want to talk, Lily?
Yes, so we are actually, Los Deliveristas Unidos is working with Councilmember Keith Powers actually to put a bill together to create a trading program. And yes, I think there is a lot of incentives, even for Deliveristas on own, to transition. And we're proud to be working with Senator Schumer and New York City Mayor Adams, because part of the problem is, one, transitioning, but also the infrastructure. So this is a big step, not only to supporting workers who are using these type of batteries. And by the way, some of these batteries that Deliveristas use, even though they're not certified, most of these batteries that cost $500 to $600, some of them are safe. The ones that are causing most of the fires are the refurnished batteries, and as he said, the ones that are in the black market that are cheap, and sometimes it's already for sale. And we're committed to that transition. As I said, infrastructure is a huge step. towards transitioning the Liberistas to this new era of safe micromobility. So we're proud to be working with Senator Schumer and New York City Mayor Adams.
Right. And let me just say, we've all worked together on this.
Senator Gillibrand, who has been also...
I was just going to mention her.
Yeah.
Okay, Senator Gillibrand's been a great partner in this and helped us get the push for all of this. Okay, finished on this subject. Okay, I'm going to make a statement, not do Q&A on Russia. I was briefed this morning on Russia, and this is all unclassified stuff. I'm not going to say anything that's classified. But it is true that the insurrection led by the the Wagner Group has stopped, and they have signed agreement. There is no evidence of any more motion. They were about 150 miles from Moscow when they stopped. They did not get much resistance on that road to Moscow, but all of a sudden they stopped. So the speculation, and it can only be speculation as to why, one of the bits of speculation is that the head of Prigori, how do you say his name? Prigori, the head of the Wagner Group, thought that he'd get a lot of support from dissident Russian armed forces and dissident Russian people, and may not have. But that remains just speculation. We don't know exactly what happened yet. Okay? All right. I can't answer that. Okay? Can't answer that. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thanks so much.
Commissioner.